You ever wonder what powers the websites for some of the biggest, most important organizations in the world? Well, there's a really good chance it's a technology you might not have even heard of, but you've definitely used. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the unseen engine of the web.
Just look at this list for a second. We're talking about NASA, Princeton University, the European Commission, the Olympic Games. I mean, these aren't just big names. These are organizations that absolutely demand top-tier security, massive scale, and rock-solid reliability. And they all put their trust in the exact same technology.
So what is the common thread here? What's the secret sauce? Well, they all rely on a single, incredibly powerful, and, surprisingly humble piece of open-source software, Drupal. So what is this thing, and where on earth did it come from?
To really get what makes Drupal so special, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. And it's a story that starts, of all places, in a university dorm room.
What's so wild about this timeline is the journey. It kicks off in 2000 with a student, Dries Hired, who's just building a little message board for his friends. A blink of an eye later, in 2003, it's powering a US presidential campaign. And fast forward to today, and it's been officially recognized as a digital public good. That means it's considered critical infrastructure for a free and open internet. I mean, what an incredible trajectory.
And here's a fantastic little piece of trivia for you. The name itself, it was a total accident. A happy accident. Dries wanted to call his site Dorp. That's the Dutch word for village, to reflect that community feel. But he mistyped it as Drop, which led him to Drupal, and from there, the name Drupal was born. It just goes to show, sometimes the best ideas start with a simple mistake.
Okay, so how does this dorm room project actually work? Well, honestly, the best way to think about it is like the ultimate digital Lego kit.
At its very heart, Drupal is what we call a content management system, or a CMS. Now, the key idea here is that a CMS separates your content, your articles, your images, from all the underlying code and the design. This means people who aren't developers can really easily create, edit, and manage a website. And that is a total game changer.
And this Lego analogy just illustrates it perfectly. You start with something called Drupal core. Think of that as your big green Lego baseplate. Then you start snapping on modules. These are like your special bricks that add all kinds of new features. Want a photo gallery? Yep, there's a module for that. Need an online store? There's a module for that too. And finally, you apply a theme, which is like picking the color scheme and style for all your bricks at once. And the sheer number of these Lego bricks is just staggering. We're talking about a massive ecosystem with over 50,000 free modules. 50,000! It basically means that if you can dream up a feature for your website, chances are someone out there in the community has already built it for you. So what's the result of all this? Well, Drupal powers at least 14% of the world's top 10,000 websites. That is a huge footprint for a project that, remember, started with a typo in a dorm room.
But for a long time, all of this incredible power and flexibility came with a major catch. It was kind of like a powerfully complex puzzle that you had to solve.
See, the very thing that made Drupal so amazing, its limitless possibilities, also made it pretty difficult for anyone who wasn't super technical. It got this reputation for being a developer CMS, which really just means you needed to know how to code to get the most out of it.
And this quote from Princeton really sums it up perfectly. The ability to tailor the system is a huge plus for a giant institution. But that same need for tailoring could be a massive hurdle for smaller teams or, anyone who doesn't have a developer on call.
But thankfully, the Drupal community recognized this problem, and they've spent the last few years completely reimagining the platform to solve this exact usability puzzle.
And this right here shows their brilliant solution. The best way to think of it is like two layers. On the bottom, you've still got Drupal core, that super powerful, flexible foundation for developers to build anything they want. But now, built right on top of that, you have Drupal CMS, which gives you a polished, intuitive, and user-friendly experience right out of the box.
And this new Drupal CMS, it directly tackles all those old pain points. It offers low-code and even no-code tools, so marketers and content creators can build amazing things without ever writing a single line of code. It's designed to be easy to learn, and it even has modern AI features built right in.
So, what does all this mean for the future of the web? Well, this brings us to what might be the most important point of this whole story, the community that's behind the code.
And this number, this is the real key. Drupal isn't a product that comes from a single giant corporation.
Nope. It's built and maintained by a global community of over 1.39 million people. Just think about that. That is a massive, massive collaborative effort.
And that's the crucial takeaway here. Because it's open source, there's no vendor lock-in. You're not stuck with one company's agenda or their pricing schemes. The entire project is driven by this shared commitment to keeping the web open, accessible, and a public good that belongs to everyone.
So this leaves us with a really important question to think about. As more and more of our digital lives move behind the high walls of giant tech companies, the story of Drupal is this amazing proof that a global community can still come together to build powerful, independent, and open alternatives. The only question is, will we choose to support them?